Welcome back, video creeps. The date was October 31st of 2015, and the world was a happy and exciting place because Evil Dead was finally back after the massive success of the 2013 remake. And not only was Evil Dead back, but the chainsaw-wielding hero that we all know and love was coming back to reprise his role as Ash Williams. And the people were happy. Ash vs. Evil Dead promised an intriguing and distinct addition to the Evil Dead franchise, exploring more to this series in every conceivable way imaginable. So how is it that despite its warm welcome and interesting premise, could so many people have still not seen this show, and it ultimately end in cancellation and the retirement of a legend? Now, right from the very first episode, all the way through until its last, Ash vs. Evil Dead offered another fresh take on what this franchise had already showed us that it could do, blending horror and comedy in a way that stayed true to its roots, all the while strengthening skills that it already possessed to provide us with something new. The show had a wonderful distinctiveness in its dark and over-the-top gore, providing me with endless entertainment and a nostalgic experience. There were interesting new characters that were introduced, Kelly and Pablo, who, while we love Ash respectively, they brought in this dynamic chemistry that the series just had never seen before. Like, sure, in the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, like, we see Ash interact with his friends, but they don't feel like his friends. Like in Ash vs. Evil Dead, he really has a posse, and you care about them. And maybe it's the fucking Power Rangers child that lives within my heart, but seeing Ash with a crew to take down evil, just that hit me where I live. Their presence expanded Evil Dead, and it added depth to its characters that we had never seen until 2013. It is what it is. The franchise just didn't put that as a top priority. No movie is perfect, and with Evil Dead, that's probably the one that makes it weak. And it was a fantastic time for them to revisit Ash, as where we pick up with him, he's picking up the pieces again. He finds himself aging and worn out. And while yes, it is played for laughs, exploring Ash's vulnerability and his growth while maintaining his iconic charm was incredibly cool. But not everybody shared my feelings about what the show was able to achieve. And an old issue that has been going on since Evil Dead 2 to Army of Darkness resurfaced. To put it lightly, the Evil Dead fan base is abundantly divided, with varying preferences for the direction of the franchise in every direction, which it makes sense if you're going to provide us with all the different ways that we can have an Evil Dead movie. Some fans are going to gravitate towards that humorous side, reveling in that slapstick nature and loving the comedy that comes from Ash's one-liners. All the while, on the other hand, there are fans who are going to desire a more straightforward approach to their horror, favoring those intense and terrifying elements that 2013 was able to provide us. And both sides are right to desire their preferences. But the challenge for Ash vs. Evil Dead was figuring out how to balance those expectations. And while some viewers appreciated that comedic tone, others felt like it completely overshadowed the horror, diluting the tension and destroying the atmosphere that they so desired. And this divergence in preference made it really hard to satisfy the entire fan base. And it really was almost an impossible ask in the first place. Like, really search your heart. If 2013 had gotten a sequel that followed the Mia storyline, and then Ash was introduced as promised, like in the end credits of that film, how do you imagine that would have worked without sacrificing one or the other when it comes to 2013's serious tone or Ash's comedic charm? That balance, I just don't think it exists. But even more than just a divided fan base, there was another major issue with the show. Despite its dedicated cult following, Ash vs. Evil Dead struggled to gain broader viewership, ultimately leading to the show's cancellation after only 3 seasons. And one of the biggest contributing factors to that was the show's initial airing on Starz. And while yes, Starz has been around forever, I don't think anyone would dispute that it is a premium cable channel. Yo, who the fuck has Starz? It premiering on that channel immediately cut its accessibility in half right away. And while yes, later on Starz Play would become a thing in 2018, at the time the absence of a popular streaming platform to support Ash vs. Evil Dead just further hindered its potential reach. But even worse than people not tuning into the show because of its limited access was a way bigger issue that was going on behind the scenes. And that's that this series faced significant piracy issues. The limited availability on other popular platforms led many fans to resort to illegal downloading, and that just tanked the whole ship. And I understand that you can love something so much that you inherently destroy it. It's like Eminem in that song Rock Bottom. People wanted Evil Dead, but the lack of legitimate viewership just negatively impacted the show's ratings. And let's not act new here. The financial viability of creating the show at all. The extreme level of piracy not only deprived the creators of the revenue that they needed to continue with the show, but directly diminished the chances of the show continuing. And remember how I said that you can inadvertently hurt something that you love? Following the cancellation of Ash vs. Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell announced his retirement as Ash Williams. Campbell would go on to say that it was too physically demanding for him, and that his age was the main factor in his decision to do so. And while he never once said that as a result of what happened with the TV show that he was going to punish us and not play Ash anymore, fucking am I the only one who feels like it is? Now, I know I touched on it a little bit, but I really think it's worth expanding on when talking about the fate of this show. The remake came in so hot and heavy with its new approach to the franchise that people just revered this significant change, because the film took a more serious and brutal approach to horror, deviating away from those comedic elements that kind of categorized the original trilogy. And as a result, those who were drawn to that intensity were excited to continue with that pace. So when they got Ash vs. Evil Dead and the tone didn't match that, rightfully so, they were put off by the lighter and funnier direction of the TV series. Because by and large, those first couple Evil Deads squarely fall into the camp category. They don't call him Bruce Campbell for nothing. Now, obviously, you clicked this video because you're in the know and you're cool. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to be super cool. But I want you to think back to 2015, and I want you to try and remember all of the insane promotion that went on for this TV show. Do you remember that? Well, it's a fucking Mandela effect, because this show received terrible marketing and promotion. Of course, there were ads and word got out about the show, but it just didn't receive that same level of advertising campaigns that you see for other TV shows. And that insufficient awareness and exposure played a massive role in losing potential viewers who may have been overlooking the show, particularly those that weren't already diehard fans of the franchise. I think an awesome show that could have faced a similar fate but didn't is the Chucky TV show, as that show also streams on lower tier platforms. But because of its insane marketing and support from the networks that it plays on, the show gets fantastic viewership. I got Chucky texting right now, just keeping me jazzed about the premiere for the show. And because of it, I know to get sci-fi so that way I can access it. Starz did not do this for Ash vs. Evil Dead. And all of these little factors add up to a gigantic collapse that truly could have been avoided, as the show had so much heart, and even the way that the show ended felt like they didn't want to end. That season finale, it left us with so many questions, and it did this great thing where it leaves Ash in this interesting spot where he will go on to fight more evil, but where's Kelly? Where's Pablo? Where's his kid? Man, what a great finale. shouldn't have been a series finale. Ash vs. Evil Dead is truly a show that deserved better, but was let down in the final hour by its friends. And for that, I'm sorry, Ash vs. Evil Dead. Hey, but what do you think about this topic? Whatever you think, let me know down in the comments below. And another reminder to make sure that you like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell, so that way you always know when I drop new things. I gotta promote that Patreon because there's always a ton of really cool video creep things on there, like articles and videos and just whatever you're looking for, it's over there. It's over there. I promise you, it's over there. So go to the link in the bio to check that out. For everyone else, thanks so much for staying to the end of the video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace, video creeps.
I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. And I punch the man who says I'm not. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. And I punch the man who says I'm not.